we nerded out a little bit, talking about, you've already mentioned M0, but we talk about M2 money supply and the hurdle rate of Bitcoin. So for those of the listeners that, hey, they like this stuff and they want to know this stuff, here's the opportunity for you and I to nerd out a little bit. Tell everybody about why Bitcoin is interesting, maybe with the 21 million Bitcoin that are possible, and then go from there.
Yeah. So like we stated, gold is kind of base money. So it's scarce. It's energy backed. We just call that hard money. So Bitcoin is the same. It's a digital version of gold. It has 21 million coins. So just like gold, it's hard to find in the ground. Technology has made it a little bit easier. But Bitcoin technically is infinitely scarce. So that's not the only thing that makes it value, scarcity alone. So like I said earlier, the energy input into the network is the cost to actually distribute those coins. And so the energy input actually increases the value. So if you look at the hash rate, it just increased like 1.1, so like 1,100 exahashes, which is just crazy. It's like going exponentially higher. So a lot more energy input into the network. So that prescribes value as the network adoption grows. Regular money loses value if banks or the Fed or whoever like creates credit, that makes more dollars, makes it less valuable. Bitcoin and gold, they stay rare. So Proverbs 11:1. So like using scales that are, just and fair. So anything with a false balance is an abomination to the Lord. And so, yeah, gold though it's heavy, it's tough to carry. It's probably not going to make it across the border if you need to do that. Bitcoin's digital, so you can send it super fast. If you need to, send value to someone in Africa, if you're like passionate about missions, you don't have to go through the government. Like you can go directly to the person who wants to build a well and circumvent all of that. Current structure of just the layers of money. Like we've talked about settlement. We kind of think individually about some of these things. So like the foundation versus like layers of money. But gold is a monetary thing, but it's also it's a market good as well. So like you can use jewelry and things like that. Bitcoin, it's a monetary instrument. It's a network. It's a protocol. I actually pray that it doesn't become a good. I pray that information doesn't go on the blockchain. So that would make a monetary good. So like even today, like there's like a node battle between knots and core. You can look that up. All that kind of came from a book called Soft War by Jason Lowery, the DoD, now DOW, I guess. But yeah, Bitcoin is hard money, 21 million cap, infinitely scarce. It's fungible. So there is like a growing amount of liquidity in the network, just like gold. But I think the bigger thing is, are we trying to create the same world that we have now in a digital world? Or I think we can actually be free and separate money and state. So fiat by decree, that is pushed onto people by the government. And Bitcoin, like if it stays decentralized and secure, will actually remove money from state. And so it's really up to us. It's not up to our government. So like you're seeing a lot of things, like even with the Bitcoin Act possibly going to be pushed through in Q4 of 2025, depending on when you're watching this. Yeah, so we're going to see like government even more engaged in this conversation. And I would say that it doesn't really matter what the government does. It matters what we do as citizens. If we take responsibility, if we actually take charge of our own finances, then like the energy and the time and the resources that we put into the network, that matters way more than any government or any type of control system that they will try to put in place to extract wealth from their people. So full circle back to M2. Um, M2 really is just the growth of the fiat system, and we're seeing that that is continuing to grow exponentially. You can see that in our debt metrics. If you go to usdebtclock.org, you can see, yeah, our debt is like 37 trillion. We're growing like probably 2 trillion a year, maybe more, probably faster. Each and every year it's going to continue to grow faster. And so, yeah, there'll be a moment in time where um, that like fiat number grows too fast, that will be unsustainable, and that people will wake up and understand that, hey, well, that's not really money. It's just currency. And so we'll break that and we'll create a new system. And the new system, I continue to come back to this. It's up to us what that system is. And yeah, that can kind of lead us into, yeah, the next question. Even as believers, like what do we what do we do about that? Like do we trust the government like completely? I think of the passage when the disciples asked Jesus if they should like, yeah, render to Caesar what is Caesar, right? That's what Jesus replied to
Right.
the disciples when they're like
Sure.
asking about all of like the taxes and everything. And like when the government is like irresponsible, then like who holds them accountable? It's us. So like what is Caesar for the United States citizen? Is it the Federal Reserve, a private entity? No. Like the Federal Reserve has controlled our money since 1911, 1913. Um, so like is the US president the highest level of authority? No. Is Congress? No. It's the US Constitution. And the US Constitution states that, yeah, it's we the people. It's one nation under God. Like read the Declaration of Independence again. We submit our country to the authority of God, which means our rights and privileges come from him. And so if if the system that has been deployed by the state is actually against Imago Dei, against what God views man as, so like we are not valuable as long as the Federal Reserve is over control of us. Submission of authority in God's eyes is the US Constitution. And so I think that we need to return to our founding principles as United States citizens and bring accountability not just to money, but to all levels of structure of government.
So I appreciate that insight and your thoughts on that. I know a lot of people would have a rowdy conversation with you on that, and I'm sure you would welcome the rowdy conversation. Uh,
I would.
you know, functionally speaking, most of these systems, when they were formed, fiat currencies, originally they were all tied to silver or gold. You know, I've got dollar bills that said it can be reimbursed, with silver. You can turn it in. There's silver certificates.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Our US
that
Constitution defines the dollar as 7 pieces of silver.
Right, which is unbelievable. Those pieces have gotten a lot smaller. Uh, but here's what happened is we disconnected it from any store of value that it truly lasts. It has it has fungible value, fungible use. It can be used in a tangible product, gold, silver, um, and we've got it totally disconnected, and no one will verify what is in Fort Knox, if anything. Um, and so it's disconnected. At that moment, debt spirals out of control. We have a elected representative government, and it's representative of a mass of people who choose to live their lives wildly with no plans and no order. And at some level, you can see why people give up because they're like, hey, the government spends endlessly. My dollar is deflated. And as you said, you went down the rabbit hole in 2020. Well, you knew that when the federal government dumped 3.2 trillion additional dollars into the system and you were part of that, you got this check, you're like, well, inflation is bound to happen, which means deflating of my dollar some more. So, I really appreciate your coming on here and having a conversation about this. If people want to learn more about Bitcoin, what what have been the sources for you that you feel like, hey, really helped you when you first got started? What really helped you get moving?
Yeah, so the first book I read was The Bitcoin Standard by Saifedean Ammous. Um, there's been a lot more books along the way, so I don't know if I would recommend that. There's been so many more that have just kind of helped. I think synonymously to like learning Bitcoin, if you don't understand some of these M0, M2 like metrics, I would even educate yourself on the existing financial system. A lot of people say Bitcoin's a Ponzi. When you understand our credit system is actually a Ponzi, and that's why Bitcoin's going up in dollar terms. Like, yeah. So, like, read Broken Money by Lynn Alden. That's a great resource. Another good, like, summary of a lot of books that I've read is called The Big Print. It just came out this year. It's by Lance Lafard or something like that. But yeah, if you haven't read anything on the Federal Reserve, read The Creature from Jekyll Island. Read The Sovereign Individual. That kind of shows how technology advances like the individual like sovereignty instead of relying on nation states. So we've even seen like some of like the the big seven, like big tech, like kind of outperform governments and provide a lot of governance and restrictions to individuals, whether you
Sure.
believe that's good or bad. So like the sovereign individual kind of hits all of those things. Hidden Repression is a really great book, and I think as a believer too, understanding that we have actually enslaved the world, like as our current system and model. So that's by Alex Gladstein. So crypto is going to solve all of those like problems. Bitcoin specifically, I believe that's capital. So the price of tomorrow, that book will change the way that you think about the world. So Jeff Booth, I would recommend highly anything that he puts out. Like he doesn't really have traditional social media. You can find him on YouTube. Probably when you're looking at this, Bitcoin's going to be going crazy high, and there'll be a repost of a lot of videos. Um, so I would recommend, yeah, just steady, go through the noise. There's going to be a lot of chatter, a lot of people talking about it. Maybe even remove yourself from social media like Twitter or Facebook, those things. But maybe open up a Noster account. So Noster, it actually means notes and other stuff transmitted on relays. Uh, you can get to them by two applications, Damus or Primal. Basically, you create like a private key, and it's just a protocol for social media using like a crypto. It's not, you can't invest in it. It's just crypto. So it's a use case that has no monetary value. It's just a protocol that you can use to interact with people without control. So you create like an MPub and you follow people's MPub like accounts.
Okay.
Do your research, figure it out. It's fun. BTC sessions on YouTube, all of his stuff is great. For any tutorials on like, hey, I feel like I want to run a node and like vote my time and energy in this whole like knots versus core debate that's happening right now. He has a lot of tutorials. He speaks very plainly and explains things without a lot of the jargon that a lot of financial people use, which is
Yeah.
great. So,
I really appreciate your taking time today. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise and your
yeah,
passion. Um,
absolutely.
and
Can I share two
and maybe
scriptures?
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Close us out with that.
Yeah. So again, when you kind of come to this conversation, when you kind of wake up to these ideas, our tendency as humans is to go really deep, really fast. I would say slow down, be prayerful about things, go into Proverbs, read Proverbs through this through this time. So even Proverbs 28:20, a faithful person will be blessed, but someone who rushes to get rich will not be innocent and or go unpunished. And so, yeah, we've seen that in our own lives when we FOMO, fear of missing out, then we hurt ourselves, we hurt our family. So then also big picture view, not just you. So Psalm 82, 3-4, defend the weak and the fatherless, uphold the cause of the poor and the oppressed, rescue the weak and the needy, deliver them from the hand of the wicked. So a lot of the things that are happening right now, so like even the fall of Rome, like when you inflate the currency, you devalue and you create immorality in society. And so people that are awake to these concepts, to these ideas, it's our responsibility to care for others around us. There's going to be a lot of people hurting through this time as they're trying to figure out things. Gambling mentality is incentivized, so like don't fall to those things. Don't try to make a quick buck. Like have a long term time horizon. Yeah, think principally. Use your values and the things that you see in scripture to inform your decisions. Don't just trust anyone. You hear this all the time in the Bitcoin space. Don't trust, verify. There's so many people out there trying to scam you. There's so many projects out there. There's 40,000 crypto projects right now. And I would say only 300 of them are maybe even useful.
Yeah.
So a lot less than that are liquid. So if you put your money in some of those, unless your timing is perfect, you're probably going to lose your like time and energy that you spent in that system. Focus on Bitcoin first. Read this everything that's happening, and then use those principles and values that you have to inform your decisions in the market.
That's great words and great wisdom.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out fullyfunded.life for more tools to help you win with money.